4 stars. I just finished Book of Azrael. I'm stressed. Oh my god, wait. If I get every summer aftered, I'm gonna lose it. Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name's Elena, I really like books. Thanks so much for being here. For today's vlog, we are gonna go through the completion of my self-imposed summer reading challenge. I created this little bingo board for myself to add some structure to my summer reading goals because I find that I do best when I have some guiding principles, but not a specific TBR of titles that I want to read. I got inspired to do this in the month of October because I gave myself a challenge of reading only dark academia, fantasy, magical realism, and thriller mysteries to kind of go with the overall vibe of October. And I felt that I read so many books, I read so many good books, and I really thoroughly enjoyed the process because it all felt very contemporary, very with the season. It just kind of fit the overall vibe of the calendar year. And so I wanted to try and replicate that for this summer. So I created this summer reading challenge, and feel free to join in if it resonates with you as well. My hope is that it gives me some parameters as I'm picking books to read over the next month. I am giving myself some grace to double count some of the books that I read to count for multiple squares on the bingo board. And if I get bingo, I don't know what happens. Probably I'll buy myself a book, but realistically, I'm gonna let myself do that anyway, so this is just for fun. I tried to incorporate some things that I know I'm going to do and some things that I want to stretch myself a little bit to make sure happens this summer. So going in the first row, 5 a.m. sprint, definitely gonna happen. Duology, I have a couple sitting on my shelf that I really wanna get to. Newbie could mean it's a new release, or maybe it's a book that newly was added to my TBR or my bookshelf. A book with dragons, because I love books with dragons. And then phone a friend could mean doing a buddy read or asking a friend for a recommendation for a book that they really love or a book that they think that you'll love. I also have ice cream on here. That could either be a book with ice cream on the cover, a book that has like a scene with ice cream in it, or maybe eating ice cream while reading a book just for a summer vibe. Camp could be a book that's set in a camp environment, or it could be a book that's campy, you know, like very camp. 300 pages should be pretty easy. A nonfiction book should also be pretty easy for me. I really want to get back into that. I've been not so good at reading nonfiction, I would say, in the year of 2025 and 2024, but I was really big on it in 2023, and I want to get back to that. I love a foodie book, a fiction book, a nonfiction book about food, restaurants, chefs. I eat it up every time. So I definitely want to encourage that part of my reading taste this summer. Also had to throw it back to my Short Kings. If you saw, in the month of April, I did a challenge called Short King Spring where I read 30 books in 30 days. So this summer I want to make sure I get in a short novella, a short story, just to have some variety in the pace of the stories that I'm reading. A book with sunset on the cover, a quote unquote beach read or reading at the beach because that's one of my favorite things to do. Reading an indie author, which I specifically put on here because I think it's easy to fall into the trad publish kind of world. But that being said, we also want to make sure that we're prioritizing diverse voices all throughout the challenge, but indie specifically gets its own spot on the board. Reading a book of 500 plus pages, reading a book that's about furry friends, or reading with your furry friend by your side. Out of This World can be taken in a lot of different ways. Maybe it's a book that's set in space, maybe it's a book about astronauts, maybe it's a book that's a shifter romance, maybe it's a book that you think is just kind of out of this world amazing. However you want to interpret is fine. An old book could be a book that was published a long time ago, or maybe a book that's been sitting on your TBR for quite a bit. And relatedly, second chance could be a second chance romance, or it could mean revisiting a book that you started and maybe DNF'd but want to give a second chance to. In the bottom row, we have a whodunit, because what's a summer reading challenge without a quick, fast-paced thriller mystery? Checking out a book from the library, because we have to utilize our libraries. Reading a book either about characters set in an exotic destination, or reading a book while you're on a trip in a fun destination. Finishing a trilogy, that's gonna be a big challenge just from a length perspective, but I think we can do it. And finally, the one that's gonna be hardest for me is staying up until midnight to read, because I like to go to bed early. That's kind of the overarching guiding principles of this bingo board, so I'll be taking you guys along in this vlog, and we'll see how long it takes for me to cross off every box on this bingo board. I'm not sure if this vlog is gonna be the entire bingo board, or if it's gonna be half, or we're gonna do a week. We'll kind of see how quickly I move through the board and go from there. We are gonna start with some low-hanging fruit, and I'm gonna read a beach read that is more than 300 pages on the beach. So we are gonna start off this vlog with Barefoot by Ellen Hildebrand, so let's dive in. Hi guys, it's been about 2 days and I've been working on Barefoot by Ellen Hildebrand and I'm finally ready to give you a 100-page update. I've been doing my morning reading at the beach and I just got to page 120. This book is interesting because there are no chapters. There are a couple of pause points that have this little symbol in there to indicate a little change in scenery, but ultimately it's just a book of 400 pages of text. Let me give you a broad overview. We have 3 women who are spending their summer on Nantucket Island for a variety of reasons. Our first main character is Vicky. She really wants a summer away because she recently got a very serious medical diagnosis and is feeling stifled by her current life. She's the mom of 2 young kids, she's married, she lives in this suburban town in Connecticut where all of her neighbors are rallying around her and trying to support, but in a way that to her feels really stifling, really scrutinizing, and so she just wants to get away from all the questions, get away from all the people bringing casseroles, and just be herself this summer, while she's also getting medical treatment on the island. Then we have Vicky's younger sister, Brenda, who's going to Nantucket Island partially to support Vicky, to help her with coping with the medical care, to help her with caring for her 2 young kids who are also on the island with her for the summer. But Brenda also has her own stuff going on. She is a literature professor and recently got into some trouble at work because she became romantically involved with a student. There's some allegations about defacing property that Brenda's on the line for. So she's out on Nantucket Island just kind of trying to deal with that, but her lawyer is calling her student is calling her, it's a mess. Lastly, we have Vicky's friend Melanie, who is also joining them at the family home for the summer on Nantucket. Melanie and her husband have been through 7 in vitro attempts and have not successfully gotten pregnant, which is devastating in and of itself, but then Melanie learns after this 7-time devastation that her husband is also cheating on her. And then on top of that, she later discovers that she is in fact pregnant with his child. So Melanie is spending a summer on Nantucket to just kind of deal with all of that. She left a note for her husband and is just like, hey, sorry, see ya, I'm gone. So now that we're 100 pages into this, let me give you some thoughts. Right now, the only character that I'm rooting for is Vicky, and let me tell you why. She's not a perfect person. I get the sense that over the course of her life, the theme has been that Vicky is like the perfect older sister. She's very controlling, she likes her list, yada yada yada. The thing is though, she's struggling with her medical diagnosis. Her husband hasn't quite figured out the right way to be there for her throughout this while also still processing his own feelings about it. She's got 2 young kids who simply cannot understand what's going on with her. Her sister is low-key not making things easier and is kind of flaky. And then her friend, who has a lot of stuff going on, is just not really able to focus on supporting Vicky. So I'm rooting for Vicky right now because the thing is, Brenda, the younger sister, to me right now it seems like she's made her bed and she kind of has to lie in it. She has always been a really, really smart young woman, and per the narrator, it's the kind of smart in a way that encourages adults to coddle a person like that. Like, oh, we can't ask Brenda to wash the dishes, she's busy reading right now, and like that's her thing. She's doing literary analysis, like really creating a lot of space for her to have all of these intellectual pursuits at the cost of everybody else having to do things for her. And so that's not really working out so well in this summer because Vicky really needs Brenda to step up and like babysit the kids every now and then, and Brenda's like, well, when am I gonna write? And it's like, Brenda deserves to write, but she also needs to kind of figure out all this stuff going on with her job. So right now, I'm on the fence with Brenda. She's not really doing it for me, but I appreciate how that moves the story along. Lastly, I will say, I am rooting for Melanie, but I need her to grow a backbone. Her husband has done her so dirty, and she has been through so much individually and with him in this pregnancy journey, and she's like not even really mad at him. Like, she is on Nantucket Island, she's calling him, he's not answering. She calls the mistress's apartment and is like, hey, is my husband there? And she's like, yeah, and puts him on the phone, and Melanie's like, do you miss me? Like, do you want me to come home? And he's like, what do you want me to say to that? What do you want me to say to that? Say something. To be fair though, the other thing that is not really helping Melanie out is she didn't tell him about the pregnancy. And, you know, I'm not here to judge whether that was the right thing to do or the wrong thing to do, but he is missing information, and I think she is trying to set up a situation where he has to pick her for her. And I understand that. I understand wanting that, but she is just going about this in the wildest way humanly possible. So that is my 100-page update. I'm gonna keep reading through the rest of the evening and see how far I get. I really would love to get to like the half or 75% point so that I can start a new book tomorrow afternoon, but we will see how that goes, and I will give you guys an update when I have one. I'm here with a 200 to 300 page update on Barefoot. I'm actually on page like 260 something. As I have shared before, this book doesn't really have chapters, but it's divided up between months of the summer. So part 1 is June, part 2 is July, and then I just got to part 3, which is August. So part 3 is really the meat of the rest of the book, and then there's like a winter epilogue. That's the last few pages. But I am so excited to finish this book today. It's a cloudy day here. I'm back from New York, so I have a ton of things to just do around the apartment, prep for work on Monday, unpack my suitcase, get some groceries going, do the laundry, etc. So I'm gonna lock in on my life admin and I'm gonna lock in on this book. And I'm really excited to see how part 3 goes, because in some ways we have kind of like the medical conflict that's going on in our character Vicky is starting to look up. Like things are taking a positive turn and you're kind of like, okay, is this how it's gonna finish out for her? Or are we waiting for the other shoe to drop? And she's also kind of going through that with you parallel, so that's kind of fun. I don't really know how to explain what's going on with our other character Melanie without giving too much away, but she's got this thing going on that doesn't involve her husband. And it's been kind of coasting for most of part 2. So in part 3, I have a feeling that it's gonna take like a really negative turn, and I'm kind of living for it. I would say for most of part 2, our main character Brenda, who's the younger sister who's a professor, we've gotten a lot of backstory on what went on between her and her student, but we haven't really gotten a lot of action in the current state. Like she's really spent most of the month of July writing her screenplay, but that's kind of been boring to read about because it's like, oh, I brought my sister to chemo and then I sat down for 2 hours and tried to write and it went well. Or I brought my sister to chemo and I tried to write and it went amazing. And it's like, okay, girl, like, are we moving on with this conflict? Like what's happening? What's gonna happen when you go home? Like tell me more about that. Answer the phone when your lawyer calls. Are you gonna call back your lover? Like these are the things I wanna know, and maybe that'll happen in part 3. I have been up since 5 a.m. and it's like almost 9 o'clock now, so I'm gonna make a second big cup of coffee, get started on some chores, and continue reading my book. I will catch you guys later today. One of the sisters in this story is writing a screenplay, and so she's sitting down in the house to do some writing and everyone's coming in to check on her. And so these pages are written like a screenplay, which I think is comical, in addition to the content being pretty funny. Much later in the day, and I have emotionally recovered from finishing Barefoot by Ellen Hildebrand. It came to a very emotional conclusion. I was tearing up in the last like 50 pages or so, and I couldn't give my thoughts right away. I had to take a little like decompress, Love Island, and nap break. But I really liked this book. I'm giving it a solid 4 stars. I would say out of our 3 main female characters, I'm only fully satisfied with the ending of the story for one of them. The other 2 I'm a little upset about, but not in a way that makes me think the book needs to lose points for it. It's just one of those endings where it's kind of messy, but realistically it wouldn't make sense for it to all tie up in a nice bow because of how messy everything was throughout the book. And I think it's meant to be representative of true life circumstances. Like things don't always work out in the way we want them to, or the way that's most idyllic, or the way that feels the most fair, but they work out and you either choose to accept it and move on, or you choose to be mad about it. And I think all of these women chose to just accept their situations for what it is and move through it, and I think there's value in that. It's not my absolute most favorite work of Ellen Hildebrand, but that is a-okay. 28 Summers is one of my most favorite reads of all time, and the 5-star Weekend I did like more than I liked Barefoot, but I still liked it and I'm glad I read it, and I'm very excited to finally check out the Hotel Nantucket at some point this summer. As I'm thinking about my summer reading challenge bingo board, I technically could count this for beach read because it takes place in Nantucket and I did read it at the beach. I can also definitely count it for my 300+ page challenge. I could count it for Furry Friend because Yoshi was with me through the process, but I might hold that one in my back pocket. I feel like he'll probably be present for most of the reads, and there is a dog focused book that I'm hoping to get to this summer, so I think I'll count the dog book for Furry Friend. But knocking off 2 squares with 1 book is a pretty good start. I'm still working on the Book of Azrael, and I think that's what I'm gonna use to count as my phone a friend read, because I'm doing it as a buddy read with someone from one of my online book clubs. I might end up counting it for my trilogy because I do think it's part of like a 5 or 6 book series, but only 3 of the books are out right now. But book 4 I think is coming out soon if I'm remembering correctly. The plan for this weekend is to really do some serious work on the Book of Azrael. If I'm being really ambitious, I would love to finish it by Monday so that I can count it as a June read, but we'll see how that goes. I'm gonna finish getting ready for book club. I will see you guys the next time it's time for me to do some reading. Okay, hello, we are back from book club. Since I'm home nice and early, I'm gonna go sit on the couch. I'll probably watch some Love Island. I'll maybe do some editing. And before I go to bed, I do plan on maybe doing a little bit more reading in Book of Azrael because I really do want to finish it this weekend. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Good night. It is many hours later on Saturday. It's been about a week since I gave you guys a reading update. I'm now on page like 380 something in the Book of Azrael. So here is your 60% of the way through update. It took me until about 20 chapters into this book to really become invested. The story starts out just throwing us straight into the action. It follows our female main character, Diana, who is a monster who is created by this evil king as part of a bargain that she struck with him to protect her sister, who was mortal at the time. So we get really quickly thrown into this magical world with minimal explanation. You're kind of just observing everything happening. Our main character Diana is betraying friends, she's killing allies, and through several chapters of reading you realize that she's committing these atrocities, 1, because she has to in order to keep her sister safe, but 2, because it's part of this larger war between the monsters and the gods. Diana serves the side of the monsters, who are mad at the gods for shunning them from their original realm. If I'm understanding everything correctly, it is not one of those fantasy books where there's like a sage leader who comes in by chapter 12 and kind of like explains the whole history. You just kind of have to pick it up from the dialogue between the characters. Where I really started to become invested is maybe around chapter 12, we start to get the POV of our male main character, Liam. Now, Liam is on the side of the gods. He's the son of a really powerful god who passed away, you know, centuries ago, and so now the responsibility to lead the land is on Liam. For one reason or another, I can't really recall if they told us why or if I just forgot why, but Liam has been isolated for centuries. He kind of disappeared, fell off the face of the earth, and so his people have been kind of ruling and leading without him. But now he is awoken, he is back. So Liam and Diana end up encountering each other because Diana's on the quest to find this Book of Azrael that her leader thinks is really important. Liam captures Diana after a bit of a scuffle. Diana realizes that she really needs to strike up a deal with Liam if she's gonna survive this and protect her sister. So at this point, she doesn't change sides, so to speak, but she does swear allegiance to Liam. They make what they call like a blood oath that says she will help him as long as he protects her sister. And that's really all she cares about. So she's just switching sides, so to speak. This is an enemies to lovers slow burn romance. So as they are now working together to find this Book of Azrael, we see that Liam starts to become more vulnerable with Diana. Diana starts to really show her softer side to Liam. And it took a while to get here, but I honestly am so in love with the both of them. At first it was Liam's POV that really drew me in because he's such a tortured kind of character. He's very much like that surly prince, the prince who's gone through so much and no one can understand what it's like to be him, and his nightmares keep him up every night and make it hard for him to sleep. And so Diana's gonna just swoop in and help with all of that. Her as a character is much more likable now than she was at the beginning of the book. She's very sarcastic, she does a lot of deflecting, and in the beginning it was very off-putting. Now she's using that as a way to soften up Liam, so it's very endearing. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. They are starting to get what seems to be a little bit closer to finding this book that they're looking for. I don't really know what happens when they find the book. I'm gonna make a cup of tea, keep listening to this story, and see what happens. I'm eating ice cream, and I'm counting this maybe as my ice cream read because I just finished Book of Azrael and I'm stressed. Did it take me a full 26 chapters to get into this book? Yes, it did. But once I was into it, I was really into it. I just started to really root for Liam, who I was always bought into, but then Diana started to use her sarcasm and her dryness as a way to kind of soften him. And I just really loved the two of them together. I loved the pickup in the action. I'm not sure I'm a fan of the writing style, but I am a fan of this world that's been built and the characters. There was a whole lot of deception going on, which like in retrospect, I probably should have seen coming. But I'm what they call a passenger princess reader. I get into a book and I'm not asking too many questions. I'm just there to enjoy the ride. And so when it all gets revealed at the end, it's like, major reveal. I also think the way that they did it was very cheeky and entertaining. I don't even know if this is a spoiler, so if you don't want a spoiler, just forward like 30 seconds. But basically the villain pops back in via a news broadcast and kind of like does this big, you know, show behind the curtain of all the ways that really he had spies on Diana and Liam the whole time. It was wild. I need to sit here and process how I'm feeling, so I think I'll give final thoughts at some point tomorrow. I apologize that I didn't do a lot of vlogging of reading of this. It was very much an audiobook listen for me because my Kindle is currently missing and I had the book via Kindle Unlimited, so I didn't really have a ton to show you once my Kindle disappeared. Hoping that it turns up this week, we shall see. I'm gonna eat this ice cream, watch some Love Island. While I was listening to the book, I did a bunch of laundry and chores and meal prep, so it was a very, very productive day for me. And so now I have a million messages to go send Portia, so I'm gonna do that and I'll catch you guys later. Update on Dog Friendly. This was the exact vibe shift that I needed after the Book of Azrael because that book stressed me out in the last 100 pages and I wanted something just light and easy to jump into afterwards. And this was the perfect book. So this is about Morgan, who's a veterinarian and she's feeling a lot of work burnout. And she has these clients who are interior designers who come into the clinic and they say, oh, we've got our senior dog with all these complex health needs, but we have to travel so much this summer. What are we gonna do? We can't bring the dog. However, they have a house on Nantucket, and so they ask Morgan if she'd be willing to dog sit for them at the house. So it's the perfect opportunity for her. It's a great opportunity for them. So she has just gotten to Nantucket. She started to settle in. She's dog sitting her client. She also picked up a foster dog. She's becoming involved with a volunteer organization on the island. And she's met our love interest male main character, who's a surfer who also owns a drink stand on Nantucket. They've gone on their first date. It's feeling very light, sweet, and casual. casual. Obviously, I'm assuming things are gonna heat up, so I'm excited to see how this goes for her, but I am really liking it. I actually picked up this book a couple months ago at the used bookstore just because the cover and the premise was so cute, and I'm really enjoying it. It's just such a perfect, light, easy read. Like, I'm flying through this book. I feel like I haven't been reading it very much at all, and at the same time, I'm 100 pages in. Definitely hoping to finish it by the end of the week. I'm gonna do a little bit more reading this morning before I start my work day, and then this evening I have book club, which for the first time ever I did not read the book for, but I'm gonna go anyway. And I actually think that's gonna be the case for my book club that's meeting later this week as well, because there's no way I'm gonna squeeze in Dream Count between now and then. But whatever, it's fine. I'm going for the social aspect, so I'm gonna read a little bit more of this. I probably won't read more this evening, but I will give you guys another update when I have some more to report on. Past my bedtime, but I'm work from home tomorrow, so I don't have to stress about it too much. I am maybe 80% of the way through Dog Friendly by Victoria Shade, and the way that this book makes me feel, it's almost like my brain is getting a massage. Like, you know when you go into the spa and you just lay on the table in darkness with nice music, your muscles get relaxed, you come out and you feel like a scrubbed out, bloopy, goopy, soft version of yourself? That's how I feel when I'm reading this book, and I mean that in the most complimentary way humanly possible. I'm also gonna say some stuff right now that isn't typically a compliment, but I mean it so sincerely when I say it about this book. There's really not a ton going on in the plot. The side characters are very two-dimensional. The writing style isn't blowing me away. And I'm on page 259, and there's only really been like one major conflict in the book thus far, and I love everything about that. This is the definition of an easy breezy read, and after finishing the Book of Azrael, that is exactly what I was looking for. So for that reason, I am forever grateful to Victoria Shade and Dog Friendly, and I have no complaints. Our female main character is fully settled into her new life on Nantucket for the summer. She's got a new man, she's got a new hobby, she's got a new friend, she's got a new dog, she's got a new therapist. Like, she is just summering correctly. The only time I was feeling any sort of stress was there was one chapter where something stressful happened between her dog and her love interest's dog, but by the next chapter they tied it all up in a bow and everything was fine, and I just found myself like fully unclenching because I was like, oh my god, my nice relaxing book has become stressful. I don't know what to do with this information. And then it was fine. So I am really loving it. I'm gonna maybe do a little bit more reading in bed tonight, so I will either finish this tonight or early tomorrow, and I will come back with final thoughts, but something really dramatic would have to happen for me to change my opinion on this one. The other thing that I will say is that this book is like 90% sweet and wholesome, like kisses only, very PG. Every now and then our female main character has like an impure thought about her crush, but there is in fact a spice scene in here, and it came out of left field in the same way all the little thoughts that our female main character has about him kind of come out of left field. Like, it's so wholesome and Hallmark, and then all of a sudden she's like, ooh, I would like to blah blah blah. And I'm like, oh, I forgot that you're a girl who like may have those sort of needs. Anyway, thus far I've only encountered one spice scene, so it's a very low spice book. I don't foresee another one coming up. I mean, I don't know what's gonna happen in the last 60 pages here, but I'd be surprised if another one got squeezed in there. So if low spice, fluffy, dog friendly beach reads are your thing, you will love this book. Cannot recommend it enough. Okay, good night. Okay, hi. It has been a few days, but I wanted to give my final updates on Dog Friendly by Victoria Shade. I really liked this book. It was exactly what I needed after finishing Book of Azrael. I'm giving it a solid 3.5 stars. There's really only two major points of conflict in this book, and they both resolve pretty quickly. They tie up into a beautiful bow. Everybody's happy at the end. It is the definition of an easy breezy beach read. If you like dogs, If you like beach vacation books set on Nantucket, if you like books with low spice, and by that I mean like one spicy scene in the entire book, definitely recommend picking this up. It is very cute. I think I mentioned this before, but even the writing style is very light, very easy, very fast paced. There's not too much going on with our side characters. They're really just there to support our main character. So it is just a book that's very easy on the brain. So I'm counting this for my furry friend read on my bingo board. I could also count it for ice cream. There is a lot of ice cream getting on Nantucket. I feel ice cream is one that is just gonna be kind of checked off as we go because ice cream came up in this book. I ate some ice cream while I was reading Book of Azrael, so ice cream is taken care of. But will also maybe make a reappearance. So now that I'm done with dog friendly, I'm gonna be jumping, oh, I should probably get it. So now that I'm done with dog friendly, I'm gonna be jumping into My Brilliant Friend by Elena Ferrante. I think this is the book that I'm gonna count for my destination because it's set in Italy. And I literally have not read a single page yet, so my understanding is that this is a book about two friends. Broadly. It explores the complexity and the depth, the emotional turmoil and support that comes as two women have a very strong friendship as they age. It is one of my friend's favorite books ever, so I'm really excited to dive into it. It's a very popular book. According to the book cover, it is the #1 book of the century. I think it has sold more copies internationally across all countries than any book ever, so I'm really excited to see what the hype is about. It is a part of, I think, like a 4-book series, so we'll see how book 1 goes and then decide if we're gonna move forward. I am actually getting ready right now to head to the bookstore, so I'm gonna take this with me and start it on my commute. I've talked about this bookstore before on my channel, but I don't think I showed you guys the last time that I went, so I will remember to get some clips for you. But we're gonna head out now. Okay, hello. It has been quite a while since we touched base about My Brilliant Friend by Elena Ferrante. I am currently on page 214. I am reading on TikTok live with the girlies right now, but I wanted to give a little update because I do think I might finish this book tonight. Thus far, I have really enjoyed the first like 150 pages of this book. I found the writing style and the characters and the complexities and the dynamics and the relationships between everyone in this town to be very compelling and not like anything I've ever read before. But I will say that it did start to lag a little bit for me from pages like 170 to 200. Truly nothing was happening, which is par for the course in a character-driven story. However, some things are starting to happen now. Some new exciting things are happening in our main character's life. One of the girls left the small town to have a little summer away and she's reconnecting with a childhood connection. So things are getting exciting, and so I'm hopeful that they stay exciting and I can actually just finish this book tonight because I do feel I've been reading it for a while. I feel like this vlog is getting kind of long, and I have decided that I'm definitely gonna split up the bingo board into at least 2 videos. So I'm gonna stay hanging out on live. I'm gonna hopefully finish up this book tonight or early tomorrow, and I will come back with final thoughts and let you know if anything really happens in this book besides the girls turning into teenagers. Okay, we perfectly timed this so that the end of the sprint would coincide with me finishing this book. We finished and it ended on a single sentence of like deep, profound betrayal that has been like building and building for the whole book, that I thought was just gonna kind of like fall to the wayside. Maybe that was foolish of me, but oh no. Oh, this is distressing. Okay, what? Whoa, okay. I have to text my friend who also read this book. Oh my God. I have to voice note her like immediately. I'm so stressed. Oh my God, I cannot. Oh, okay, this book, just immediate thoughts. I didn't think, the last paragraph really brought the heat, but I thought that this was gonna come to one of those kind of like melancholy endings when things aren't really falling apart, but they haven't quite come together in the way that our protagonist was hoping. And I thought that's where we were going. She kind of has this internal narrative about like, she's remembering some lessons from her teacher. Her teacher at one point had asked like, hey girl, do you know what plebeians are? And at the time she was like, yeah, totally, just like kind of fronting about it. But then she's at this wedding of her best friend and she's like, oh, it's us, like we're the plebeians, like us and our dumb little arguments in our small little town that's so inconsequential but feels so big. Like just really, she's just really like dogging down on herself and her community in a way that's kind of like, well, this is what my life is, like that's it. And then at the end there's like a little twist that ties together like this long-standing drama in the neighborhood, one that I didn't see coming, and like maybe I should have, honestly. It was maybe naive of me to think that this wedding would just kind of happen and the book would be over, especially knowing that it's part of a series, but oh my God, okay. I'm just gonna send like a real raw voice note right now to my friend. She'll appreciate. We love an unhinged voice note. If you don't have a friend who you can send unhinged voice notes to at any time of day, get one. Definitely get one. Okay, let me turn this TV off because we have to go to bed after this. Okay, Izzy, I just finished My Brilliant Friend and hello, good morning. It's the next day. Sorry about the noise of the bacon frying in the background. I am making it in a pot. I saw that you could do that on TikTok and we'll see how that goes. But I am nursing my book hangover from My Brilliant Friend yesterday. I still think I need to fully process it, but you saw my live reaction last night. Definitely a 4.25 star book for me. I would definitely recommend it if you like a character-driven novel, if you like novels about girlhood and the joys and the struggles that come in female friendship sometimes, set in the context of like a small European town in the 1950s that has a lot of traditional ideas about what women should and shouldn't be doing, what brings a family notoriety. There's a lot to chew on in this book. I definitely see the appeal. I understand why it's such a popular book across many nations, but man, it leaves you with like a funny, sad feeling. So I need to jump into something completely different this morning for our last book of this vlog. I'm gonna be jumping back into One Golden Summer by Carly Fortune. I started this book on Friday at the Philly Book and Sip Club pool party. I only read about 12 pages because I was talking most of the time and I did a little bit of reading. So we're still in the setup phase, but I'm excited to see if this gets me back into Carly Fortune. I'm not sure if I've talked about this on my channel yet before, but I read Every Summer After maybe 3 years ago. And if you guys have read that book, or even if you haven't, you might have heard that it is a very enjoyable story for about 70% of the book. It's a second chance romance. It follows the childhood love that blooms between the two main characters in this very picturesque environment on the lake. The language is really descriptive. The characters are really likable. And then you get to the last chunk of the book and you learn why they didn't work out in childhood. And then the whole conflict that's been building for years resolves in like 40 pages. And to me, I just found that deeply dissatisfying for two reasons. One, I simply do not approve of the female main character's behavior. I found it egregious, but that's not for me to judge, right? I'm just a reader. I'm not the person in the book or in these relationships. So if the male main character wants to move on from that, that's on him. That's his prerogative. They had a very sweet love story that really can't compare to anything. I get it. But the way that basically he was just like, yeah, it's all good. I missed you. I love you. Let's just pick it up. Like, after all that, the entire book just wraps up so simply. That really made me upset. The resolution did not feel satisfying to me, especially given the level of severity of the crime, in my opinion. That being said, this book is about the brother of the male main character from Every Summer After. I love the brother. I want good things for him. He didn't make me upset in this book, so I'm gonna see if this is Carly Fortune redemption in my eyes. I've heard very good things about it. I don't think I've heard anyone say a single bad thing about this book, so I have high hopes. While I technically could count this for second chance because it's the second chance for the author, I'm gonna wait and save my second chance square for a different title that I've tried to read and just put down multiple times because I have several of those that I want to get through this summer. So this will count for our new book because it came out pretty recently and I just bought it last weekend, and our sunset pick. So I'm gonna go cook my breakfast and I'll give you guys an update in about 100 pages. My 100-page update of One Golden Summer. I am absolutely loving this book so far. I love our main character, Alice. I really feel like I understand her very, very well. It's like I'm reading myself in a book in some ways. I have loved Charlie since Every Summer After. I'm loving that he's getting so much airtime in this book. The banter between these two characters is fantastic, and normally I'm not like a banter girl. Even in the 5-star romances that I've read, I can't look back and say, oh, I really loved their banter. I love the way that they flirted with each other. But I can say that about this one. They are very fun and flirty, very cocky confident, very poking fun at each other. And also we see our main character Alice is really stretching herself to be more flirtatious than she typically would have been in the past. There's also definitely some sort of subplot brewing with the grandmother because she was very close friends with the people whose house they're staying in on Barry's Bay, and some sort of weird falling out happened between herself and one of her male friends, and I just need to know what that's about. But I'm loving the budding romance. It's now Alice's birthday and her younger siblings canceled on her, so Charlie is at her birthday party, so it's Charlie, Alice, and Nan, and the three of them are just having a splendid little time on the lake, and it is so delightful. I'm eating it up. And I was reading on TikTok Live, and what I said was, I am getting so many 5-star feelings from this book, and if I get Every Summer Aftered, I'm gonna lose it. When I say if I get Every Summer Aftered, what I mean is if I get through 70 to 80% of this book just for the last 30 to 20% to disappoint me, I'm going to be so devastated. But I swear, every time I close another chapter, I'm like, ugh, and just like fully swooning. I'm laughing out loud. It is so good. But I can't lie, Every Summer After really had me messed up, and so even though I'm thoroughly enjoying this, I'm like, okay, but where's the plot twist? Are we about to ruin this book, or are we gonna keep enjoying this book? But right now I am 126 pages in and I am loving it. Loving it. So right now it's giving 5-star feelings, so we will see if that maintains. I'll come back later this evening and let you know how far I got. Okay, hello, it's the next day. I wanted to give you an update on One Golden Summer by Carly Fortune. Most of my reading of this book got done yesterday, as well as a little bit this morning and during my commute today. Guess how far I got? I have 100 pages left in this book. I am absolutely eating this book up. Now, I think I told you guys, I'm worried about getting Every Summer Aftered. I don't want to get 80% through this book, love every minute of it, and then become disappointed at the end. But that being said, I'm really enjoying this experience. I love the flirtation between our male and female main character. I love the personal development that our female main character is going through. I love the secondary plot that we're getting with the grandmother who our female main character is staying at the lake with. And we also get cameos from our favorite characters from Every Summer After. I truly have not a single complaint about about this book aside from the fact that I am nervous that it is going to turn around at the end. So with that being said, I think I'm gonna just finish this book tonight. I pulled some ice cream out of the freezer, so I'm gonna enjoy some ice cream with this book, and I'll give you guys an update when I'm all finished. I am here to tell you that One Golden Summer is a 5-star read. 10 stars, 20 stars, 400 stars. I loved it. I cannot express to you the relief that I felt when I got to the last pages of the book and realized, okay, I did not get Every Summer After. I did not get catfished. The third act conflict did not ruin this for me. It's fun, it's flirty, it's lighthearted while also still having some elements of deeper emotional processing and plot points. Cannot recommend it enough. This is a book that is worth the hype. And the only reason why I'm not holding it up right now is because I actually put it on my bookshelf where I keep my 5-star paperbacks. Here, let me show you how serious this is. I finished reading the book on TikTok Live and immediately I closed it, I raved about it, and I said, okay, we've got to put her in her new home. And here she is. Yes, I am aware that I need some more room on my shelf. That's a personal problem, but these are my 5-star paperbacks, and sitting right on top, our most recent queen, One Golden Summer by Carly Fortune. I just loved it. I finished the book on TikTok Live and I did get the question, do I need to read Every Summer After to read One Golden Summer? Do you have to? You don't have to. You won't be missing any plot by just jumping right into One Golden Summer. But I do think you'll enjoy the book more if you read Every Summer After, because the main characters of that story become the background characters in One Golden Summer. And I think it gives you a deeper appreciation for the family ties and the friendship and the magic of Barry's Bay. So do with that information what you will. Know that the ending of Every Summer After may piss you off, but to be honest, I would do it 20 times over again to read One Golden Summer. I would. This book achieved new because it's a new release and it's new to my collection. It is a sunset cover, and I also read while eating ice cream. I also read while eating ice cream when I read Book of Azrael, but now we can solidly cross it off the list. So I will be doing another vlog later this summer to finish our summer reading challenge. Comment down below if you're participating and what books you've used to cross squares off of your bingo board. And I will see you guys in my next video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.